Right, okay, please write down this. Use of subprograms. If programs are complex and having multiple separatable units, it is advisable to divide the program to subprograms. Okay, there are two kinds of subprograms. First one, function. It will return a value after executing procedure, do a process, but will not return a value. Procedure, it's a process, but it will not return a value. So that's the difference between function and procedure. Right, okay, so let's discuss few examples. So let's discuss few examples. For an example, if you want to add two numbers, right? So let's say you want to add two numbers, and you want to use a function to do, or procedure to do that. Let's say you want to add two numbers and you want to use procedure to do that. Let me use our programming interface, that online Pascal compiler GDB, using this. It's okay to take screenshots if you want, right? Okay, this is my program, and I'm going to write a procedure. I'm going to write procedure, and I need variables, few variables like num1, num2, and okay, num1, num2, and total. All are integers, and I just know it to begin the procedure. Procedure, let's say add nums. Procedure add nums. Let's give variable n1 here. Then begin and the end of the procedure. You can say n1 comma n2 are the numbers which is going to be added. And let's say total equal, you can say n1 plus n2. You can say write the total. You have to, so let's say you want to input this, right? You can say enter number 1 to get the number, and you can read it to num1, and you can write the second number and read it to num2. You can add those numbers too, right? Or you can read to num1, n1, and read to n2, and you can add n1 and n2, and even you can store this num1 so equal n1, and you can say num2 equal n2. You can store in these variables. So these variables can be accessed anywhere in the program, but these variables can be accessed inside the procedure only. Okay, please note the difference, right? These variables, this n1, n2 are local to the procedure. N1, n2 can be accessed inside here. Let me write. N1 and N2 can be accessed inside the procedure only. But these other variables you can access even outside the procedure. Okay, let's run the function now. I'm going to run the function now. Sorry, run the procedure now. Add nums. Now I'm going to enter num1 and num2. Okay, let me run the code now. It's giving some errors. 4, line 4. Line 4, the variables, you have to tell that. So these are like the type of the variable, right? You have to tell this integer and this as integer. Okay, still you have bracket expected. Okay. Okay, run. Enter num1 45, enter num2 6 46 56. So it says after adding it's 101. So this is how you store the things to add the numbers. This is how you store the thing separately in a procedure, and this is called calling the procedure. Calling the procedure. Calling the procedure can be done in this way. This is how you can call the procedure anytime. So that is another advantage, right? If you want, you can call the procedure again. You can add another 2 numbers. You can add another 2 numbers. Likewise, you call procedure 3 times. Now, when you run this, asking number 1, number 2, giving the output, okay, enter number 1, number 2, again giving the output, enter number 1, number 2, again giving the output, like it will run 3 times. Here you have to write ln to go to the next line. Then let me run it again, otherwise not clear. 45, 67 added and total displayed. 67, 89 added and total displayed. 46, 75 added and you can see it's displayed. So this is how you call a function. Sorry, call a procedure. Even calling function will be the same. So shall we try it now? Shall we try the code? So this is procedure, right? This is procedure. So next, I'm going to write a function. So please write the procedure now. Otherwise, I will feel sleepy, right? I'll add process. Sorry, procedure to sorry, function to this. So now this is, you have seen the procedure, how procedure is implemented. Let's add a function. Function can be added the same way. Function, let's say I'm going to add a num. I'm going to use function. Let's say find the gap. Find the gap is the function. Function name is find the gap, and I'm going to give two variables, y and 1, and that is integer, and y and 2 is also integer. So you can skip this step, right? You can skip this one. So those who are trying the first one can skip this one. Okay, so I have given this, and finally I have to return. I have to tell the return type of this function. So as a result, what I'm going to get, that is integer. As a result, I'm going to get integer. This is how you declare a function. Then the related variables, if you want any variables to work inside the function, you can define that. Otherwise, same begin and end to finish the function. So this is how you run a function. Right, you get an error here. So what is that? Expected Here semicolon should be semicolon. Right, now it's running. Let's stop. And inside the function, I just want to write the gap. If let's say n1 is greater than n2, then so let's have a local variable gap. Var gap. This local variable gap is integer. If n1 equal n1 greater than n2, then gap equal, so the bigger number is first, then the smaller number. Else you can say gap is equal to the bigger number will be n2 minus n1. And then after this, what you can do, you can return, or you can say find the gap will return this gap. Find the gap is returning this gap. Not depth, it's gap. So this is how you declare a function. So let me run this. Again, I'm getting error. Okay, this one I should erase. Okay, so first asking, so still I have not called the function, right? Still I have not called the function. Okay, you can try. I think the first one is already over, no? It's finished. So with excluding this one, you have to write the first one. Excluding this part, because this is a function. Function has a return type or result type. But procedure, it's just run. Without anything, it will run. That is a procedure. When you ask to shut down your computer, computer will be shut down. When you ask to restart your computer, it will restart. But it will not keep anything in the memory. But here, this one will run and keep something in the memory. That is the gap. So you can give two numbers here in the calling play, call karna, you can call find the gap. So you can give the two numbers, or you can say, let's say, find the gap, and let's give two numbers. You can give like this, but let's say whether it's working. It's generating errors. Wait. Comma. Again generating errors. I think I must give, okay, so write the result of find the gap. I think I must give the numbers as variables. Okay, still I'm getting the errors. 34, line 34 is 3125 is this one. This is the error. Okay, I have to give this as a input. Input means this n1, you can say num1 and num2. Let's write only one occurrence of the procedure, and this is calling the function. So let's call this now. Asking me the first, it's asking me enter number 1, 65, enter number 2, 55. Then it says, okay, when you run this, the first thing is the total, that is by the procedure. Second thing is the gap, which is found through subtracting the first one from the second one, or second one from the first one. So it depends. So this is how you call a procedure. In the procedure, you have to basically store the value. So rather than writing like this, you can call this in two steps. So that means you can say gap equal, or you can say gap, or maybe answer. Let's have an answer here. ANS. You can say here answer equal find the gap one, the function. Then you can write gap between num1 and num2 is answer. So likewise, you can print the gap. Then if I run this like this, let me run this. First, it's asking some values, then I give. Okay, now so you can see gap between 56 and 34 is 22. So that is using this. This is how you store the answer which is taken from this function. So you can use this later here. That's the advantage. You can get the answer, keep it for some time, and then you can use it later. But when you call procedure, it will start running. Procedure එකක් call කරාම ඒ වෙලාවෙම run වෙනවා. shut down කරන්න ගියාම ඒ වෙලාවෙම shut down වෙනවා. But function එකක් run කරාම ඒ answer එක අරගෙන තියාගන්න පුළුවන්. After some time you can use the answer. That's the difference between function and procedure. Okay, you can try both. You can try both now. Just give a try quickly.